All right, we are in the summer heat tournament. Wow, wow. Somebody, one of my viewers, asked me, "What do I think about them having these back-to-back-to-back full tournaments?" And man, this blows. It blows. The way it worked when the game originally came out was they had a tournament, and it was a while. It was like a month or so before the second tournament came out, and then it was 2 or 3 weeks before the third tournament came out, and they were just trying to get the stuff right. And then they finally got on a track where it was a full tournament every other week. And so it really promoted people to play one-on-one, during the off weeks and prep for the tournament. And then they came out with the 9-hole cups to fill in the gap week. And of course, that's a money thing for them because they're going to sell balls. And now we're to the tournament there's no day off. Like, you go into your clan on a Monday to see like how everybody did in the last tournament, and it's already gone. You don't know how everybody did because we're already on a new one, and everybody's already qualifying and doing the stuff. What I guess we're gonna have 2 tournaments a week. Like, you got to compete in both. It's a ball grab. Is that what it is? Is they were looking and going, hey, our sales aren't as good during the 9-hole cup week, so we sell more balls during full tournament weeks. And there's a billion other ways. Why is it that there is a ton of ways that they could monetize this game that we would actually enjoy, but it always seems like they do the worst thing possible? They do the thing that will wear out their customers the most. Like, what's the worst thing we could do for our customers? Oh, we could do this. That'd be great. We could put signs out on the course. Oh no, that'll be great. We could make more revenue off that instead of going, hey, we're ball manufacturers. What can we do to sell more balls? I guess this is their response to that. Maybe they lost so many people after the Gold Star sign stuff that they need to up their game by having a tournament every single day of the year. Every day. Every day. Every day. Every day. And I'm not on. This is like the old days when the record would skip. All right, I'll get off my little soapbox and take my tin hat off. What do we have? We have the summer heat. I haven't even looked at it. I am so burned out. What happened was we had a tournament. We had a full tournament, and then we were, the next week would be a 9-hole cup, and we'd get a couple days to breathe and relax and stuff, and bam, we're in the tournament. And then bam, now we're in another tournament. And I'm thrown off my game. Like, wow, I'm just burned. Come on, man. What the hell are we even playing here? Is this Waterfield? I think it might be Waterfield Sands. Is this what it is? Waterfield Sands? All right. When this hole first came out, you can, if you bring out the right stuff, you can go this way to try and get up into here and go at it. This shot over here is a flat shot. So, where you're at and where the cup is are pretty flat. And I like the angle from over here. You can hit it out to here really easily and come up to the cup. I think if you put yourself in the right spot, there is also a rough bump that you could do here, but you really I'm pretty sure you need a Goliath for it. But I think the way the green is structured is the green, we got this green like this, and I think it's tiered. Let me get rid of all those marks. I think it's tiered up so that when you're here, you're coming up the hill, and then right about here is where it crests, so it comes like this and then it flattens out. And when you're coming up at the cup, you're coming up at it through this hill trying to get to the flagpole up here. But if you come at it from this direction, you're already on the flat, and I think it rolls out a little bit better, but it is a little bit harder to get. And I'm not sure you can get, like here, you can get all the way down in here, and if we draw our arc, we draw a circle out here, I don't know that we can get to this. I think if you hit over to this side over here, you're actually hitting with your wood. And over here you could hit with your long iron, but you do have a nice flat shot from over here. Everybody knows what this shot looks like. I'm sure most people have taken it. So I'll go out here and hit this shot just so you can see what it looks like. All right, let's try that. Let's try it. Let's take the old number one bag. Do. And I'm definitely not buying any practice tokens. So like I saw that they were just doing back to back to back, and my buddy Kyle had warned me, and we've got another tournament coming up. Like it's just going to be back to back to back. What's funny is that they haven't announced anything. They haven't said, "Hey, we're doing this," or "This is what we're doing." They just did it. I mean, it's their game. They can do whatever they want. But you think that they would come out and go, "Hey, we've got the greatest thing since sliced bread here. What we're going to do," you see, I don't need to practice. What I need is to make sure I got the right ball here. I'm going to take a Titan. Let's see if we can get that done with a Titan. The king of balls. I don't know. I mean, tell me how you feel in the comments. I mean, does it feel like they're just trying to burn everybody out? Like, is it like a money deal, or... And I mean, think about some of the just simple things that they could do. They could make a... They could... Is that right? Yeah. You're trying to get up into there, and you're trying to get over by that sand. Clipping around the corner. That is a brutal area to try and hit to. Brutal. 2-2. There's 2-6. I'm going to put the forward wind back on. Let's try not to put too much curl on it. And a one ring grate to the right. If anything, that'll put me in the sand. Good. I do think we were bringing out bigger balls to hit over there, whereas if you go forward, you don't need to do that. And I think we're going up and down the hill. We're going up, and then it's down on the other side, maybe. Let my wife know I'll call her right back. Because of course. Much easier to get down there. And one-on-one play, I always play straightforward. And you can play with a marlin. That's the deal. You don't have to waste any special balls here. And that is, man, if anything, it's uphill. There's min. There's max. There's mid. I'm going to just pull the wind. Now I'm going to do a normal pull. Let's see where we're off. 2.7 divided by 1.1 will be 2.45. I'll do 2.5 rings. Isn't it perfect? We'll see if we need to add or take anything off. Need to add. And that's not much, maybe 10. But it's nice and flat going to the cup, and it did run out just a little faster than I thought I was going to. I know that I've done the rough bump here. I'm kind of surprised from where they're at. Oh, well, they're using a zero power ball. That they're in a... There is a rough bump right there. Were they ever actually aiming right to the cup? Where they had it all set up so like if there was no wind and they hit it perfect, it'd go in the hole, like, you know, like this is the shot right here, and now I have to address the wind. It's definitely easier to go straight forward, and you can see with my opponent right there, you don't have to bring out anything special if you go straight forward. If it was on a headwind day, you might want to bring out something a little bigger just so you can fight against the headwind. But I don't think you'd have to bring much if you go straight forward. In the hole. All right, birdie. Birdie, birdie. All right, hold on. All right. Here we go. What is hole number 2? What is hole number 2? There is a rough bump on this. There is. It seemed like we were doing like 10% on this rough bump in here. We'll have to see which way the wind was blowing. There was one of these courses, and I can't remember which one it was, that if we were pulling the wind out, we'll have to look at it. And it might be on this course, but it might not be this hole. There was one of these where we would pull the wind out and then we needed to put back in like a half a ring. And I'm not sure if it's this hole, but you can't, there's multiple ways that you can go at this hole. If you're playing it in pro from the pro tees, you can get up there with your APOC and you can do, there is a huge ass backboard here, and you can use that backboard to try and bring it back down to the cup. This is one of those racetracky type of holes that you're playing one-on-one. They kind of suck because you could do something to get you really close and they can just throw the ball up there and everything kind of funnels towards the cup. They can use that backboard. We will see. We will see. I have no idea what ball to bring. No idea. Let's start off with that wind works. I'm going to start off with we'll start off with a Navigator. We'll start off with a Quasar. And then we'll see where we're at. So I'm going to do 10% with whatever I'm using. So it's 1.1 times the wind divided by wherever I'm at and whatever club I'm at. Summer heat. They should have had this tournament in like August or something when we really get summer heat. Mr. Plummer. Mr. Plummer goes first. Dun 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 dun. Now you can see everybody likes to use that backboard. And that backboard, if you can hit up, even if you can get up on this hill right here, if you put some backspin on there to bring it, that first bounces in a backwards trajectory, and it's amazing how far you can hit up on that hill and it still come down, because once it engages the fringe, it is a done deal. It is rolling down to the cup. Rolling. So we'll see if we can get it in the hole. I don't want to measure distance. I want to just get it in there. I am right at max. So I'm thinking might just could be a Marlin ball. Now it's all about whether or not we have enough spin to get us back to the cup. Not with a Marlin. So what we can do there, you see, is bring out this. Now we'd have to bring out a big ass ball. We'll just take the shot. It's not going to make any difference. It'll wash out. I'm thinking we'd have to, if we wanted to hit that with their Grizzly, we'd probably have to bring out a 3-power ball. And they're coming out. See, that's what I'm talking about. They use that backboard, and you can just roll out there. You don't even. I didn't take the wind out. I didn't set it up. Didn't do anything. Just throw it up there, and you can get 2 yards away. This is this hole was in like toward 8 or 9, and they might still be there. And it's so frustrating. You make it to a shootout, and then you're just standing with your back to the cup, and you're throwing the ball over your shoulder. And all right, that was unsuccessful. Let's see. Let's look at that hole so I can make some notes here. So where my red line was at, if I brought a 0 power ball, I have no spin on it, so I'd have to bring out a special 0 power ball. And I brought out a 2 power ball, and my red line was right about here, and I really wanted to be up in this front section. So if I brought out a 3 power ball, it would push me forward to do that. That works fine on days where we have a tailwind, but if we have headwind days, I think the katana had pushed my red line such that I didn't even have a window, or if I did, it was barely a window. You might have to have, if you want to do that rough bump, you might have to have 2 shots in your bag, or you might have to bring out a big ball in order to get to that spot consistently. You can hit right in here and kind of go straight for it. I prefer, if the cup is here, I prefer to try and go at the cup. I don't like using the hill stuff. There's so many more, when you're here, you got to make a good move, good wind adjustment, you got to hit it perfect. You know, we have our normal set of variables, but when you hit this type of shot right here, now you're adding in a whole new set of variables for the terrain. So if your speed is just a little teeny bit wrong, and you go up the hill just a little bit, then it comes down fast, and it won't, and it's going faster, so it might run through the break and not drift off towards the cup. If you come in and it's a little slow, and so we have this whole new, now we've got to deal with how it's flowing down the hill variable, and I've made shots like that, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to say that they were skill. Because I probably could have taken that same shot 100 times, and I'm not sure that I would have made it. If I did everything exactly the same and hit it perfect, I'm not sure I would have made it 100 times. Whereas if you take a shot where you're going straight at it and you figure that out and you make a good adjustment and you hit it perfect, I think your odds are higher. So I personally prefer to try and go straight at stuff. But there is a big ass backboard here. And I know that we've done that rough bump in the past, and it does seem different. It seems like it's harder to get there, that it was easier to get to the spot. Are we in new pin placements? Maybe that's the deal. Let me look. No, that first one. Let's look. I didn't even look at the deal. Summer heat, the increased qualification zones, the cozy waterside greens of Waterfield Sands, gorgeous yet tricky. Fret not though with the increased qualification zones. More golfers are qualifying. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just not remembering it properly, which is definitely possible. All right, hole number 3. All right, this hole blows. What blows on this is one shot at a time. One shot at a time. It's a little bit easier from rookie because our approach coming through here, we really want to try and get here. If you're laying yourself up here, if your goal is you're thinking, wow, I'm going to just lay myself up here and then I'll take the shot, you better bring a big ball, and you better bring the biggest hitting wood that you got in your bag. I'm not saying it's not possible to get on from here, but you got to bring the right stuff because it is a long ways from there to there. It's still quite a distance from here to here, but trying to get up into this area, and the deal with trying to get into an area like that is we're trying to get through this rough right here with our bounces at the very end of our run when we have no control. If you hit great to the left or the right when you hit it, you know, your bounces through this area here, depending on how you're bouncing it through, are probably going to be fine. And that's it. So And you can, just warning you, you can end up off the back side over here. I know. I've done it. I think I've done it on more than one occasion. What we want is our biggest hitting wood. Do. All right, that bag will work. That bag will work. And I'm just going to play it with a Titan. We'll see what we can get done with a Power 3 ball. And I know in the past I brought bigger balls than this, but we will see. And from Pro on that drive, you can pretty much put yourself in almost the same position that you can in Rookie. It's easier in Rookie to get over that last little rough patch at the end. And in Pro, that's a little bit tougher, depending on what ball you bring out. But your second shot should be fairly similar. This hole's got to be a bitch from the Masters tees, because where you're coming out the cup, the area we're trying to get through is here, and you're at this kind of an angle, and this area down here where you would do the pivot is on a slant, and so your ball's wanting to get thrown off to the right, and you almost have to do a blind shot. .8 divided by 1.2, 256. 256. I did a 10%. Perfect. We'll see it that. We'll see if we can get our bounces right. There's bounce number 1. We need to hit the fairway. Bounce number 2. Bounce number 3. Clip the rough, just like it said it was going to, and woed me up. With that kind of wind, you can't really tell whether or not, like if you made, I added on 10% there, but it's hard to tell whether or not that 10% was right or wrong, because with this kind of wind, you're not really getting, what you need is a pure tailwind or a pure headwind day. I wanted to make sure that I kept my shot to the right, and so I added on a little bit, not necessarily because I thought there was a need for it in the shot as far as the wind variable goes, but I wanted to make sure that I gave myself just that little bit more separation in that sand, so if I did hit a grate to the left. Nice shot, man. Nice shot. You can see that is a long ways to go. Long ways to go. I do not like giving I'm going to give myself a ring and a half of separation, and that's breaking my own damn rules. I'm going to do 2 rings is 2-4. Well, no, 2 rings is 2-6. I'm going to do just a little more. Hitting a 1 ring grate to the right. You can see how close I got down in there. It's close. I could have done overpower and tried to get to the other side, and I would have done the same thing. I would have set my shot up way off this direction so that I could give myself a window over here and not expect the wind to push me forward, and then put my curl on it to bring it back to the cup. I still have a ton of work to do. Ton of work. Close. Nice shot. What do I got here? There's max. There's mid. I'm in the quarter club range. Hitting it perfect. Perfecto. Boom. Hit the flagpole. In the hole. Woo. Recovered. Saved. Saved by the eagle. London, the eagle has landed. All right. What do we have here? I tried to shoot a video on that last tournament, but that last tournament just absolutely burned me out for the weekend round. I was just absolutely was not feeling it whatsoever. But we will see how this goes. We'll see if I make it through the end of the week. They're just frying me. It seems like there was a rough bump on this one as well. I could be wrong. I think this is one of those holes where this area down here is steep like this, and you can actually come in through this area and almost rough bump it to the cup. I think that's how we were doing it. I think that is. I'm thinking of another hole where we can come out here with our and come out at it. This isn't the hole. I think this hole we do have to go straight at it. And I'm going to take it straight up. I have no idea what kind of an adjustment to do, so we'll just take a straight up adjustment. Have no idea what ball to bring. Nothing. I know nothing. I know nothing. We'll start off with exactly what I have, a Titan, and if we need to, we'll switch the ball. And here we go. Mike goes first. Let's see what Mike's got. Mike's got a Marlin, and they're with their Goliath. Now let's see if they move it forward so we can see where their red line is. Oh, their red line's right there. Right there. And I think that this is that area I was talking about right here on the other side of this hump. On the other side of that, it comes down real steep, and we can use this area to do a rough bump along this edge, going straight at it. It does seem like there was an adjustment that we were doing, but with this wind, I'm just gonna, we're not gonna get any read. Yeah. Okay. Okay, my friend. Okay. Wow. Yeah, I have no idea. I wasn't paying attention to your shot, but that's it, man. Goliath. Goliath. My Goliath is 1.7, so 3.6 divided by 1.7. It's 2.11 rings. Hitting it perfect. Barely. And the wind pushed me. The wind did push me off just a little. It's hard to tell. I could have been off just that little bit coming to it, but the wind was going. The wind is pushing to the left. I suppose the way to do that is to bring out a. I almost feel like I'd be better with that shot, bringing out a lower power ball and taking it with my sniper and just hitting my sniper at minimum club. And you wouldn't necessarily have to be at min, just depending on what ball you brought out. So yeah, I think even if you brought a low power ball and you were up in that area, you have to do it. I'll have to go back and see what tournaments have these played in. Are we on hole number 5? Hole number 5. What tournaments have they played in? That fall major? The Big Catch tournament? I have to go back and watch one of those to see what was going on them. But I know that that's the way that I was going at the hole. And it almost feels like I was using a sniper in the past. So I must have been using a lower power ball so that I could get into that area. And the sniper gives you better ball guide, so you can get a little bit better run to it. It does have a little bit of a backboard on the back, so you could, if you were having any problems on this hole, come at it with a Guardian. You could. Alright. Hey, I don't want that. I don't want that. Now I've glossed them both. Do not, I don't want that either. What do I want? That's my brain dead, sit around watching TV game. My dog died a few years ago, and I was like, I could not focus on the game. I didn't play for several weeks, and I just wanted some mindless little game to play, and that was the game I was playing. It's kind of fun. Super hard once you go get up in levels. It's not so hard when you're lower. Okay, what are we on? We're on hole number 5. Let's see if we can get our act together. We played that one. Yes, we did. Now we're on hole number 5. All right. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This hole is rough. Now I thought it's this side over here is all fans, spectators. Okay. Maybe. I have no idea. The greenskeepers are in a constant state of being pissed off about this shit over here because nobody ever plays over there. And we're looking at this island. And I've tried doing the layup on the top to just try and get to the cup. And if you lay up here on the top, it can be done, but you got to bring out some big stuff. And if you're on this island and you blow it and you end up rolling off on the front, you can recover. But you can draw a line about right there, and if you're on this side of that line, you can recover. But if you're on this side of that line, you're in the shit. And now you would think, well, I can just take it from here and go over to this island and try and bring it over. And I've been in this spot quite a few times, and I've worked on this shot, and I've actually put myself in that spot several times so that I could continue to work on this shot. And just so that I had it in my bag, so that if it ever happened in one-on-one, I knew I had a way that was possible to recover. It's difficult to get around the bend because you need to stretch out your topspin in order to clear this gap. And when you pull your topspin out, if you're trying to work your way around a corner, what you really want to do is put on backspin, because it'll help you. It'll make your curl even more effective. And this shot's got everything not going for it. You really need to get on that island. And it is not as intuitive and easy as you would think. You got to do a rough bump, and it's one of those rough bumps on the side of where you're hitting here, and it takes a really irregular bounce. If you hit too far down on this hill, it'll take that bounce going straight up, and then it'll just put you right down on the back side. I am going to take that bag right there, and I'm going to take a Titan, the king of the balls. And I am 100% sure that we're doing an adjustment here. And this is the type of wind that if you don't get it right, it'll push you forward and you'll miss the spot that you were hitting. everybody's today's lottery ticket buying day. I'm in a group. We're in a group where we all buy lottery tickets and send each other pictures, so that if anybody dies in excitement if we win, everybody knows that hey, we had a group and we're all splitting the proceeds evenly amongst us. We've been doing it for years, so we have lots of documentation that we've been doing this. And most of us are actually going to go back home to our wives. Okay, so I'm just going to do a straight up adjustment. We'll see. 3.7 divided by 1.2 would be 3.1 rings. It's 3.08, but who's counting? There's 3, 1. And a perfect. And we'll see if I hit where I wanted. If I woo! That almost looked like it was an overpull. And it is, our eye is telling us that that is an uphill shot. All things being even, we should actually be taking a little bit of wind off. And it's going to be hard to tell because they eyeballed it. I have a question for everybody. And you guys answer the question for me and leave me a comment and tell me how it's done. How do they mow this? How does the greenskeeper get up there and mow that? And there is definitely a rough bump here, and this is definitely not going to make it. So a Goliath as your secondary club would definitely be nice. Definitely. Kmart sucks. $3.5. Once again, we're going uphill, so I'm going to do a full adjustment. 3.5 divided by 0.9. 3.88 rings. Here's 388. Hitting it perfect. Ooh, just a little short, and I underpulled it. Not much more of a pull, but a little teeny bit more of a pull. But I would have rather did that with a. There'd be a nice rough bump there, and your Goliath would give you, I think, a kingmaker, so that you have access to the side spin on the second shot. And the Goliath's red line would be far enough forward that instead of hitting the shot over here where this is really steep, you could hit it more in this area here where it's flatter. Because as it comes around the bend, it's really steep here, and then it flattens out as it's going around the bend, and hitting it over here where it's a little bit flatter than where I hit it with the Goliath. But in order to get that done, you might need side spin. So bringing out a 3 side spin ball would probably be better. Da, da, da. Yeah, and they came out with that exciting announcement, 3 weeks ago, that they were going to revolutionize the game and come out with the 10 power ball that'll replace the 5 power ball, so that they can come out with 9 power balls, so we can get that 4.5, because it's what we've all wanted. I totally understand why they did it, why they are trying to do it, because they're running out of combos. I'm just not sure that we all need to go out there. I mean, obviously people are going to buy those balls, but if you have a big ball inventory of, I don't know, if 4.5 Powerball comes out, is it really that important that we get that extra? as opposed to waiting for a 5 power ball. This is another one of those ones. We're hitting down into this area right here and then coming at it. And I believe once again there is a rough bump here, a Goliath rough bump. So I'm going to bring that back. I think my number 4 bag's got a Goliath in it. We will play with that. And I'm going to play this with a Kingmaker just because I'm not sure on that second shot whether I'll need that spin. And once again, I have no idea on the shots to the cup, so I'm just going to take them straight up. That way, when I go back and watch the video, if I was making notes, I could look at it and go, okay, hey, I took a straight up shot and I didn't pull it enough. As opposed to adding on and then you're in now we're in the clock thing, but we didn't have well, I overpulled it and I added one onto it. Well, what was it like if he just hit it straight up? I'm not going to say I'm going to do that necessarily on the drives, but on the shot to the cup, for sure. For sure. I'm going to pull back to the +1 mark. I'm going to put on 1.5 topspin. We'll see how far that rolls out. It's 2.7 divided by 1.2. 2 1/4 rings. 2 1/4. Perfect. Perfect. Now you look at that and you go, well, hey dude, you could go to +16 and you pulled it back to the +1 mark. On a shot like that, I could have stayed at the +16 mark and I could have worked it out where I put on a backspin or I put on something. But on a headwind day, now we're stuck where we got to change our spin in our shot. If I pull it back, then I've gave myself a window so that if we're on a headwind day, I still have room in front of me to pull the wind out. Now I could have dropped down to a katana, but we'll have to see where we are in our second shot. Like, where does that power 3 ball put me in the shot? And it puts me in my Goliath, and there is Min, and there is Max. So if I brought a 2 power ball, I'd be eking. It'd be tight. So 2.1 divided by 1.7 is 1 1/4 rings. It's 1.23. Here's 1.23 exactly. Hitting it perfect. Not quite enough steam, but it was pretty close. Pretty close. Pretty close. Nice, and then you can go straight out just like that. So if you brought out the right stuff, if you were playing with a grizzly, you might actually be in a spot of bother right there. You probably have to play it with your wood, because on today's round I might have been able to get to the right spot with the grizzly, but I don't know that it has enough. I'd have to go back and watch to see it on the top spin, but whether or not it would have enough to get me there. But I think if you brought that with a grizzly, if you, depending on where you were on your drive, you might end up having to take that with your wood. So for those of you with low level clubs where maybe you don't have a sniper that's got all of its ball guide, or you got that issue going on, having a Guardian in your bag. So if you get caught, maybe you came out here with the intention to hit it with your wood, but it didn't quite work out. Having a Guardian in your bag for your secondary club, if you got lower level stuff, might be helpful, maybe. Let's look at that hole again. So I got down in a pretty good spot down in here, and I think that's a fairly, I was at the +1 mark. I put on 1.5 top spin. I think you can get to this area pretty good. And my red line was like right in here, max red line with my Goliath. Now if I brought out a Katana, this area here is, I could still easily get to that area with a Katana. But on your second shot, it's going to pull this line back so that your red line's going to be right in here. It'll put you more towards max club, but if for some reason you didn't get enough distance, you didn't get quite as much distance, let's say you were playing on a headwind day and you did the 1.5, but it laid it down and you were 6 yards short here, then on this side, now you may get into a situation where that rough bump is not in the window and you have to take it with your wood. This is where you have, this is a prime example of you have to play these holes with your clubs, because everybody out there has a different bag. Well, not everybody. There are some people that have the same bags, but you know what I mean. And so you have to come at this hole with what works for you. Some people might be telling you, hey, you could bring a Katana on this. You don't need to bring out a 3 power ball, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it'll work for your bag. And the first shot here is not the focus. The focus is dialing this shot in so that every single time you can do the same stuff. So you make sure that you're set up that it doesn't matter whether it's a headwind day or a tailwind day or a sidewind day. If you got to your area here, you can get to that area and you can do the same shot you've been working on all week. And to do it without having to bring out some special ball. And anything you can buy in the store is not necessarily a special ball. Come on. Come on. This might be the one where there is a rough bump. We'll see. It seems to me that there is one of these holes that the rough bump is actually on this side. Intuitively, you would want to go this down on here, but it seems like there's one of them where we actually hit from over on this side coming down to it, but we'll see. I'm going to take my Goliath bag. I'll take my number 4 bag, and I have no freaking clue what ball to bring, so let's bring I'm going to bring a Katana. It seems to me no matter what, we're going to need 3 side spin. At least. And I know that there was an adjustment, but I have no idea what it is. Don't tell anybody. I've already looked at a lot of the people that shoot YouTube videos, or that stream content for Golf Clash. You watch their video that they post and they've got like all of the stuff dialed in, and it's like, you're like, wow, these people are great. I mean, like, they just went out there and played the hole and like the first time, and like, no, they shot the freaking hole. They practiced 27,000 times before they shot the first video, so that by the time they got to the first video, they had it dialed in. Is there a rough bump here? There's Max. There's Min. So I'm about mid club. Maybe not. Maybe. I know we better do something before we run out of time. I'm going to do 2 rings. I'm going to do a ring and a half. It's 1.7 a ring, so half of a ring would be, that would have been like 256. Ooh! Slight overpull. Let's see, what would that math be? I did it straight up. It'd be divided by times. .7 times 1.5, 255. was trying to do the reverse math here, but I was trying to watch my opponent take their shot at the same time. I was trying to do two things at the same time, and I'm a guy. We can't do two things at the same time. We can barely walk and chew bubble gum. Come on. I can drink and play pool at the same time. Bucky J. Bucky J. All right, hole number 8. We are just rolling through, playing minimum score, just taking a look at them. All right, let me think about this hole. What were we doing on this hole? What we were doing, you say, there's several ways that you can try and skin this cat. And there are ways that you can get in some serious ass trouble on this hole as well. It's a long shot from here. I think the last time we played this, there is, I'm almost positive there. We thought when this hole first came out that there's like a long rough bump that you could do from in here, and I think even with the Cataclysm, that shot wasn't working. So going straight at it, you can come at it from this direction and try and get up into this area so that you have this. If you get caught up in any crap down here, you could be struggling. And you don't want to get caught up down here at all. You can, if you're, let's draw some lines here. If you go from the, okay, here's the green, here's the tee box. So we're obviously doing something on the left-hand side. Duh. If you're going around this way trying to get this feels, you can bring out a bigger ball and you can set this up. This is, to me, this is a setup shot. I would want to practice this shot several times to get it nailed down. And it's almost like a max overpower hook. You're aiming off in this direction right here with some big ass ball, and you're trying to cover this gap. And so how much topspin? Obviously on a shot like this, I'm going to put on all the right hand side spin, or whatever I can get. And what you'll have to figure out is how much topspin you can put on there, and you do a max curl shot, and it's blind. You have no idea. You have no idea where it's going to go. You know it's going to go to the right, but you have no idea where it's going to go to the right or what the deal is, and trying to get yourself up into this area. But you can use this island and bounce over. This shot that's over here, I think works better if you, you do have a nice shot when you get up here, but you have a nice shot from here too. You got a straight up the gut shot. I see a lot of people that try and get into this area. Let's draw our lines again so you can see what I'm talking about. Draw a line from here to the middle of that island. The ball is going off in that direction. And people want to get their bounce number 1, and then they want to end up down here at the end, so you're having to cover this gap. So here's one of those prime examples. You can go, well, I'll just hit farther forward in it, so you hit here instead. Well, if you hit here instead, now you're trying to cover the same angle, which is a steep angle, but you're pretty much taking yourself out of the, you're pushing yourself so far forward that bringing it around the bend is, you really need to be back here in order to get your ball so that your curl can become effective and you can get it. But when you do that, because this is running at an angle, the more you want it to go in this direction, the farther it needs to go from bounce number 1 to bounce number 2 to clear this rough. So you can try and get greedy and try and get up in here, but I think the last time we were playing this is one of those holes that I was more concerned about getting into this spot, 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 every single time, so that I had that shot, that shot, that shot, as opposed to doing this where one time I'm here, and the next time I'm here, and the next time I'm here, and the next time I got it, I'm here, and the next time I screwed up and I'm here. And the same thing over here where I was trying to get around the bend, and once I'm in the rough, and then I was here, and then I got down, and then I was here. And so we're in all these different spots, whereas if I just hit it straight forward, I'm in the same spot every time. That means I can really start to dial this shot in. Really start to dial it in. And success on a hole like this, being able to repeat it over and over again, you're going to be able to repeat this over and over again. And so I was just going for the consistent spot, not being greedy. Let's take a Titan for this miraculous show of the Titan. If you can't get it done with the Titan, you can't get it done. It's really depressing to watch my Titan inventory drop. I only play with Titans in tournaments. I never bring them out in one-on-one. If I play with, I was playing, well shit, it's hard to play one-on-one and do videos when there's a freaking tournament every single day of the week. It's like, when do you guys have time to play Tour 10 and stuff? You're just prepping for tournaments. Like one-on-one is like out the door. It's out the door. And this is another one. So I'm gonna pull back to the +8 mark. Give myself a little bit of room. 2 side spin. And we'll do 3 top spin. And we'll see where that puts me. And I'm gonna move over just a little. Just give myself a little bit of room. 4.1 divided by 1.2. I'm going to take it straight up. We'll see if I need to add anything on. It's 3.5 rings. Getting it perfect. Perfect. Let's mark that spot. Perfect. 355. Perfect. And the goal there would be to get to 355 every single time. Over and over and over and over again. On a headwind day, I left myself a little bit of room to be able to pull the wind out. And you might up that to 1 3/4 topspin, just adding on just a little, just to, because the wind's gonna push it down every successive bounce. And that's what I'm saying. If you're trying to get greedy with it, he clipped the rough there, so he's at 334. So the next time he comes through, you know, he doesn't clip the rough and he's farther forward. So every time it's a different shot. And we're in Goliath. There's max Goliath. There's min Goliath. There's mid. I'm in mid Goliath. What is mid Goliath? 2.1 per ring. So 2.3 divided by 2.1 is 1.1 rings. Put on 1 backspin. See if that rolls out. 1.1 rings. Getting it perfect. Perfect. Just a bit outside. Could have added 0.1 on that and it would have been perfect. And 1.1 times. If I would have added on 10% there, it would have been 1.2. 1.2 rings instead of 1.1. So 10% or plus 0.1, plus 0.2. In that situation, it depends on what. If I would have had my grizzly right there. See if I would have did 2.1. I'm trying to think about what it would have been with my Grizzly with its, because the ring size is different. Whether if you added on 0.1 with a Grizzly versus adding on 0.1 with a Goliath, that's they're not the same. See if my opponent can get in the hole. Get in the hole, ball. Go home. All right, we just played a straight up, no fuss, no muss, just a nice and easy round. Didn't pick anything up. There's opportunities to go out there and pick shots up, though, that's for sure. Did I drop a shot? Oh. I was like, how did I end up with that? We haven't gotten to hole number 9 yet. That's how. I was like, wait a second. Did I don't remember dropping a shot. If I remember correctly, this is a blind curl shot. In one-on-one play, I think from the rookie tees, you can actually, there's a rough bump that you can do from here, but there is a rough bump that you can take on the other side. And I think that this is another one of those ones that you really want to have a Goliath in your bag. I think you might be able to do it with a Grizzly, but you can definitely do it with a Goliath. And if you're in the wrong spot out here, that Grizzly might not work. I think there is a nice rough bump that we can do with our Goliath from here. And we want to get out into this area, and there are several ways that you can do it. I believe we can do a rough bump out of this, and we can just bleed out. In Pro, you can't reach like you're down in this area, and you can't really get over here unless you bring out something big. If you bring out a bigger ball, then you might be able to get into this area, and then you can take the straight up shot, and you got the same exact deal. But I believe when I was playing this in one-on-one, I was using a Quasar, and I was coming out into this area right here, and I was doing exactly what we were talking about earlier, where I was doing a blind curl shot, trying to bring it up into this area. So I was doing a max curl shot, not an overpower hook shot, but just a max curl shot to try and bring it, get bounce number 1, bounce number 2, and then you're just bleeding off into that area. But I think in rookie, it's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to take that bag again. That bag, and I'm going to take a Kingmaker, just because I think at the end the side spin might be beneficial. Might be. Here we go. I have no idea what direction the game is going. It just feels like, as a customer, that they're just like just beating us down. It's almost like I have no clue. I have none. I suppose if you brought out the big enough stuff, you could try and get over that. Try and get your bounces to get over onto the other side, which is exactly what it looks like my opponent's trying to do. They might be in a... Okay. Get on it. I'm not saying it ain't possible. I'm just saying it ain't possible every time. Nice. I see a lot of shit going wrong with that shot on a regular basis. This is once again one of those ones I'd rather be in the same spot every single time so that I can take the same second shot every single time. Got one top spin. Give myself a little bit of separation on that second bounce. And that feels like it's almost too much topspin. I'm gonna put that right at 1. 3.8 divided by 1.2, 316. One ring grate to the right. Had to snap it off, I was running out of time. Whoa down, Cat Daddy. Whoa. Whoa down. The Hornet. Man, I wish I still had a Hornet 6. I would trade them, my Hornet 9 for that Hornet 6. I liked the Hornet. It's a great club. I had a ton of success with the Hornet. I didn't play it like it was in the book, but I had a ton of success with it. I think I played my Hornet when it got to the point where it was right below level 9, when it's like at 95 or 96% accurate. It was 1.1. I think I played at 1.1, 1.9, 2.1. I know those numbers aren't what it says in the book, but I had a ton of success with my Hornet. Okay, where am I? Here's Men Club. Hey, get over where I can see you. Damn it. What is minimum Goliath? 2.7. 3.3 divided by 2.7. 1.22 rings. 122. Isn't it perfect? Close. So close. So close. There's several of those shots that were close like that, just taking the straight up shot. So adding on a little, a plus 0.1 or a 10% or a 5%, just a very small adjustment. In the hole, in the hole. It's always better when you go on these. This is why it's so important to take your own notes and have a great note sheet, because you get on a hole like that, number one, you know what ball you're going to bring, you know what clubs you're going to hit, which is always like my very first goal to me, this is a practice round. Since I hadn't shot any videos so far this week, I didn't do this is my scouting report, practice round, qualifying all at the same time. And just having those things on your notes, so you know that, hey, when you take the second shot, you're going to do this kind of spin, or you're going to, you're going to need this, so that you can put that on there, and then you can go find the spot. And on your 30-second shot clock, you spent 5 seconds setting the shot up, and then working out your wind and taking the wind out. Now you still have plenty of time to let it, to take your shot. You're never rushed about it. I always have 3 seconds. I'm always in the red. I always have 0 or 1 second left. Notes help, for sure. For sure. What do we got at the top? Oh, they must have got Albies. What's up? Oh, they got 13. Oh, that's why those two people are at the top. They got 13s. Duh. All right, there we have it. It would be nice to have a week where it's hard to pick up shots, but I think there's a ton of spots out there for us to pick up shots on, and some of those par threes, while they might seem sucky, we do have some pretty good opportunities on these par threes. If I remember correctly, it's either in that fall major or in that big catch tournament. Dunner and I had went out, I think it was in the fall major, and we shot a walkthrough scouting report on this, where we were out practicing, spending practice tokens, and we got hooked up every time. So when we went out there, we spent 5 or 6 shots before we took a shot, and we were really able to work it out. If we had a shot that we wanted to do, whoever went first did what we had, and then if we would watch it, and then if we needed to make an adjustment, the next person would make the adjustment. So we were really maximizing our practice efforts. All right, there you have it. That was the qualifying round in the Summer Heat tournament. Have they already announced the next 6 full tournaments yet? Have they announced anything? What do we have? Hole-in-ones from Providence. And somebody asked me to watch the shot of the week. One of my teammates watched the shot of the week. You'll enjoy it. So they were on that hole number 1. They went through way too much topspin, came blasting through there at about 700 miles an hour, bounced off the green, hit the sign, ricocheted off the sign, and went in and made a hole-in-one on that par 4. And while I can say, hey, that's awesome, it should have been a tree. It should have been a spectator standing around the green and got hit in the face, and it bounced off and went in the hole. Thank you very much. I'm not a fan of those signs, and I don't get it. I don't get it, man. Wow, they haven't announced the next 6 tournaments. I'm assuming we're just going to be... They haven't told us anything. So, like, are 9-hole cups no longer a thing, or are they a special deal, or are we just going to play... Are they just going to want us to play every single second of the day? Why are we playing one-on-one anymore if we have just tournaments back-to-back? Like, who wants to spend the time on it? You can go... You can't... Half the time you can't go out and play one-on-one to practice the holes that you want to play in the tournament. So there's not really any incentive, because they want us to have to spend practice tokens in order to practice the holes. So there's not really any incentive for us to play one-on-one anymore if we're going to play tournaments non-stop forever and a day. I suppose that their thinking would be, well, hey, you qualified on Tuesday, so then you can go ahead and play one-on-one on Wednesday. I don't know. It's the burnout factor. So leave me a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. If you're not a subscriber, hit subscribe. Hit the like button. I will get back at it and put out... I didn't put out a lot of videos last week because I literally got fried. I was expecting one thing and got another, and it just burned me out. So I will see you then. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. Stay safe, my friends.